Hey there, listeners. Welcome back to Tell by Bell, the podcast where we tell stories and share perspectives. This season, we're diving into poetry again, specifically the ones from the SPM, English Literature Syllabus, or Code 2206. We'll read them, break them down, and maybe even have a few aha moments together. So, if you love poetry, or even if you're just trying to survive the exam, you're in the right place. Settle in, stay curious, and let's make poetry feel a little less like homework and a lot more like a conversation. Today, we're kicking off a 3-part series on William Wordsworth, William Blake, the poet, the painter, the visionary, and quite possibly the guy you'll avoid at a dinner party because he'll start talking about seeing angels in his garden. And yes, he actually claimed that. Our first stop, the Tyger. Now, you've probably heard the opening line before. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright. It's the kind of line that sticks in your head even if you couldn't name the poet off the top of your head. But what's Blake really getting at here? Is it just a fancy way of saying, wow, cool cat? Or is there more to it? Spoiler alert, there's way more to it. Before we jump into the poem, let's talk about Blake himself. Born in 1757, Blake was an engraver by trade, a poet by passion, and a mystic by, personal conviction. While his neighbors were busy worrying about rent and rationing candles, Blake was having visions, angels, biblical scenes, you name it. His poetry was split into 2 worlds. Songs of Innocence, where everything's sunshine, lands, and childlike wonder, and Songs of Experience, where life hits back with tigers, industrialization, and existential dread. It's like the difference between The Lion King and The Lion King 2. Same world, much darker vibe. The Tyger comes from Songs of Experience, which already tells us Blake's not just admiring a nice bit of wildlife. He's asking some serious questions about creation, power, and the nature of the universe. Alright, without further ado, let's hear the poem. Now feel free to imagine I'm reading this while dramatically staring into the distance, pondering the mysteries of life, or just trying to remember where I left my phone. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Whoa. Let's take a pause here. Fearful symmetry, huh? As a cat owner, I think I totally get it. I like to watch my cat Halloween perfectly positioning herself before Pam's. There's this eerie balance between grace and menace. Adorable, but only until claws get involved. Okay, let's continue the poem. In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what winds dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart begin to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grabs? There its deadly terrors claps. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the land make thee? Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? So let's break it down, starting with the obvious. This poem is not just about the tiger. It's really about creation. Blake's asking who or what designed something so powerful, beautiful, and dangerous at the same time. Let's tackle this with the classic poetry questions. First, what's the poem about? On the surface, it seems to be about a tiger, sure. But really, it's about the duality of creation, like I said. Blake's wondering if there's a God kind enough to make a lamb, soft, innocent, adorable. Then how on earth did that same creator make something as fierce as a tiger? It's like finding out the same person who invented chocolate cake and also invented taxes. Second, what's the form and structure? Now, this poem has 6 stanzas in total, with rhyming couplets, trochaic meter, that's the stress-unstressed beat that gives it that chant-like rhythm. Tiger, tiger, burning bright. It sounds like a blacksmith hammering away in a forge, which fits perfectly with the poem's imagery of creation. Now, what imagery stands out? So fire is everywhere, burning bright, sees a fire, the whole thing feels like a forge. Blake even compares the tiger's creation to blacksmithing. What the hammer, what the chain. It's like he's imagining God not as a gentle shepherd, but as a craftsman pounding away at the world's most intense DIY project. Fourthly, what about sound and rhythm? The steady beat of the trochaic meter gives the poem a relentless, almost hypnotic feel. It's like footsteps echoing in the dark, fitting for a creature that hunts at night. And what's the theme here? Of course, duality. Like creation isn't all sunshine and daisies, it's also storms and predators. Blake's tiger represents power without mercy, beauty without kindness. He's basically asking, can we truly call the world good if it contains both lambs and tigers? And sixth, who's speaking here? The speaker is an awestruck observer, not Blake himself, obviously. They're asking questions, not giving answers, which is key. Blake's not telling us what to think. He's asking us to wrestle with the questions ourselves. And finally, what's the personal response? Now that totally depends on you. Do you see the tiger as divine strength, human ambition, the destructive power of industry? Some people will read this poem as awe, but others as horror. Personally, I see as a reminder that creation isn't tidy. Like, beauty and danger often go hand in hand, like roses and thorns, or imagine a smartphone with 1% of battery life. But here's the thing. Blake never answers his own question. The final stanza repeats the first. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry? Notice the shift? It's not could frame anymore. It's dare frame. As if by the end, the speakers realize that creating something so powerful isn't just impressive, it's downright audacious. It's a bit like inventing nuclear power. Sure, it's genius, but should we have done it? Blake's tiger is creation without conscience. Proof that the universe isn't just kind, but complex and wild. And that's why this poem still matters today, whether you read it as a theological question, a critic of industrialization, or just Blake's way of saying, mind, nature's terrifying. it forces us to confront the uncomfortable side of creation. So that's the Tyger, part poem, part existential crisis, all wrapped up in impeccable rhyme. Next episode, we'll tackle another Blake classic. Expect more wild metaphors, more awkward questions, and probably more jokes at Blake's expense. Alright, that's it for today's poem discussion. If you enjoyed this, make sure to tune in next time as we explore another poem from the SVM English literature. Until then, stay curious, stay poetic, and if you ever come face to face with a tiger, don't stop to ponder its symmetry, just run. See you next time on Tebabel. I'm your host, Bella Wee.